Part 3. The Russians are pulling in. In New England, the insurgents are beginning to make a stable front. Not all pockets have or joined it. I mean, they are under one united front, but like on a stable front, like one that's they can support each other. Like this is on the map. You can see that not all are part of it, but most are. As over here as well, this area, this pocket of Harris, her Republic of America falls. Same thing with other areas, with them being liberated. The USA pushes out Harris from Michigan and Ohio, etc., etc., and even North Carolina and parts of Virginia. On the West Coast, Californians begin the revolution. The Second Republic of California would be born. Okay. You see, oh yeah, so once this happened, it was catastrophe for Harris. The secession led to a secessionist time period of California that would be the most revolutionary and more independence wanting for even to the years until they were fully free in 2083. Hey, that kind of rhymed. Moving on. I know this isn't a good shape to California, and I know. I know that very well. Anyway. Oh yeah. These Californians were pushed back by the USA to their normal borders, which they didn't care much about. Except when it got into their territory. They rightfully pushed them out. And whatnot. Over here, the Second Texan Republic would also be formed. Oh yeah. You see, over time they would also rise as well, growing territory. In the West, Trump was even pushing Harris out of some areas of Montana and Idaho, and would eventually fully push them out of Montana and later on fully out of Idaho. And later on, oh yeah, the Second Californian Republic would see the USA steamroll it, with the loss of Los Angeles, Hollywood, etc. would eventually see all of it falling to the USA. As later on, USA rebuilt its Pacific fleet, retaking a lot of things. Later on, the western United States saw the USA fully push it out. In Florida, the same. But also by this time, European forces had already been arriving, mainly volunteers. So, this kind of allowed them to also gain some gains as well, taking over the New England area and parts of California again. But these, as the American forces would redirect with, their forces, the European forces, volunteers being also given to Liberal Canada, eventually Harris lost Florida and even parts of Maine. Eventually, later on, the whole state would fall to Trump, along with other areas. Harris, its end, was coming. As later on, over time, they would also begin to take over the Second Texas Republic, which would be the second place for wanting independence the most, and Texas would eventually fall, being like California, fully annexed by the USA. Later on, as over time, they would begin slowly but surely pushing back the Republic of the USA, retaking where they started, and Washington, D.C. itself. Washington, D.C. became the capital of the United States once again. Harris was becoming unpopular. And finally, after after some months, Harris, her country had fallen. Later on, Liberal Canada would also fall to Canada. As Denmark would give Greenland its independence. Greenland would become free, and was mainly split between USA and the West. But would